Hello everyone, welcome back to our course Psych 101. I would be your course instructor, Sir Ced, and let's learn about sensation and perception. So these two functions are very important in terms of how we interpret, how we receive information, no, and how we process that stimuli from our environment. No? So let's learn these two cognitive functions. First is sensation. Sensation occurs when a specific event such as hearing loud noises, blinded by glaring lights, or touch something hot is detected by body's specialized cells or nerve endings known as receptors. So how we receive information, no, is sensed by our body through the organs like hearing, tasting, smelling, touching, okay, and so on and so forth. So, sensation is the raw input of the physical world taken in by the sensory receptors. So, through the sense organs, no, our body has or can undergo the process of sensation. How we sense external stimuli through our senses. Sensory limits is also called an absolute threshold. It is the smallest level of stimulus that can be detected, usually defined as at least half of the time. So, this is a point at which the stimulus goes from undetectable to detectable by the humans. So, ito yung pinakamababa, the minimum amount of energy that you can detect, no, in order for it to be detected by your senses. That is the absolute threshold. Okay, difference threshold naman is the detection of the change of the amount in stimulus. So difference, okay, refers to the smallest amount of energy it takes for you to notice a difference in stimulation. Okay, so this corresponds to the amount of change, no, to the amount of change that can be detected by your senses. Okay, sensory adaptation. So this concept refers to a stimulus that has become redundant because it is said that the level of stimuli remain unchanged for a period of time. Thus, the stimulus sort of just fade into the background of the person's level of awareness. Like for example, no, if you have a busted aircon like me, kasi yung aircon ko kasi klase sira. So, ang ingay ng aircon ko, for in a first 1 week or 2 weeks, talagang nababother ako sa aircon ko. No? Talagang ingay niya, my sensory receptor are telling me that I cannot sleep because my aircon is so noisy. But after some time, like naging 1 month, 2 months na, as I lay down in my bed, it just becomes faded in the background. I did not recognize that it is still there, that the noise is still there. Nasanay na yung katawan ko. Thus, the stimulus, no, has already adapted into my senses. Okay, that is sensory adaptation. Another example, upon entering Jollibee, you will smell the delicious smell of chicken joy, but after being inside for a while, you will not notice the smell anymore. Oh, di ba? Vision. Okay, your human camera. This is the first senses or a very important sense organ, okay, that you need in order for you to learn and to do several things. The visual system is very important part of the study in psychology because more than the other senses, humans depend a lot on visions in its daily activities. Like we can read books or ebooks, we can study more or better because of our vision or because of seeing. People who are visually challenged are more sensitive in their other senses. Okay? So, well, the eyes is very important. It's how we see the physical world, no? So, take care of your eyes, no? Huwag masyadong mag-computer. Parts and functions of your eyes or of your vision are the cornea, aqueous humor, iris, pupil, lens, vitreous humor, retina, and so on. Well, I will not thoroughly discuss this. I think you have the time for you to read the function of every part of your eyes. Okay, so common eye diseases, just to explain lang, nearsightedness or myopia, wherein the nearby objects are visible but far away objects are out of focus. Kaya may mga nearsighted people, also farsighted people or farsightedness, able to see things that are far away but difficult seeing things that are up close. So kaya merong mga tao na farsighted sila, wherein they experience difficulty kapag medyo malapit or kapag medyo malayo pala, no? Seeing things that are up close. So astigmatism, no? When I was in college, I was diagnosed with this one, astigmatism, wherein there is a distorted fuzz or blurry vision as a result of irregular curve in the eye's lens or cornea. So medyo minsan naga-blurred out yung vision, no, ng isang tao, perhaps siguro because of age or too much use of computers, no? And tsaka sumasakit din yung ulo. Yun yung experiences of people who has astigmatism. Okay, and so on and so forth. So, hearing or sensing the sound waves. Hearing is the process where the ear, for its part, responds to the pressure waves. No? Sound waves are made up of varying degrees of compressed and decompressed air. This is the reason why loud bass notes in a concert can actually be felt by the body. The pressure waves and the vibration created by the sound system have become strong enough to be detected by the skin. So minsan kapag nakakarinig tayo ng mga loud music, yung ating skin parang it dilates, no? It sometimes parang tumataas yung ating balahibo minsan. Have you ever experienced that when we encountered or heard a very loud noise or a bass kind of noise? Okay. So basically, mas nag-function talaga yung hearing ability natin. Sensed by our body and then affected some receptors like our skin. Ear. These are the main parts and the functions. I will not discuss this thoroughly. Please read this in our PowerPoint presentation. Types of hearing loss. No? We have conductive loss, sensory neural loss, and mixed loss. Smell. No? Olfactory function of our body. So it's the smell function of the nose to detect odors, which is also called olfaction. Also, the nose filters, warms, and moistens the airs before it goes into the lungs. Okay. So the nose in its major functions are the following. You're familiar of the nostril, the nasal cavity, mucous membrane, olfactory epithelium, olfactory bulb, and so on. Here are some common types of smell conditions. We have hyposmia, the reduced ability to smell and to detect odors. Anosmia, the inability to perceive odor or lack of functioning of the sense of smell, and so on and so forth. Please do read this in the presentation. Taste or gustatory function of our body. So the taste, the tongue and its function, okay, so gustation or the sense of taste gets credit for a lot of experiences that it does not provide. Well, this is very apparent when we are trying to eat something like a new dish, a new food, no? We say that the meal tastes good when our ability to smell is eliminated by a bad cold. But food seems to lack taste and we may have troubles telling red wine from vinegar. Still, taste is a sense of its own right. Even with a bad cold, we can tell salted from unsalted food, no? Because of our taste. I believe they are functions in our tongue, no, that corresponds to the saltiness, sweetness, sourness. No, there are some receptors in our tongue that has different functions that connote towards different senses like this, yung sweetness, saltiness. So iba-iba yung function na nasa tongue natin. So, the stimulus for taste is a substance that is soluble in saliva. Okay, the gustatory system includes receptors that are located on the tongue as well as on the throat and roof of the mouth. The system also includes parts of the brain and interconnecting neural pathways. In what follows, we focus on the receptors on the tongue. Okay, this taste receptors occurs in clusters called taste buds. Yun pala yung term, okay, taste buds on the bumps of the tongue and around the mouth. So we have different taste buds, no? That corresponds to sweetness, saltiness, sourness, no? Or other kinds of flavors that our tongue can detect. Common taste disorders are the following. We have ageusia, or the loss of the sense of taste, hypogeusia, or the reduced ability to taste, and dysgeusia, or the distorted ability to taste. Okay, next is the body senses. Okay, this is the skin. Well, basically, the sense of touch is called the cutaneous sense. The sense of touch is also a very important mechanism for human survival because through respiration, we could balance the temperature of our body, no? Because when our body overheats, it needs to release the heat through respiration, through sweating. The skin has the most number of receptors among all the sensory systems in the human body, mainly because because it covers the entire body and also known as the largest sense organ. So there are different structures of the skin. We have the epidermis, okay, the dermis, and the subcutaneous or adipose tissue, or the subcutaneous layer. So this is the layers of the skin. As what you can see, there is a sweat pore, there are nerve endings, no? Okay, so pores are important, no? So wag kayong magalit kung may mga pores yung mga mukha ninyo kasi kailangan ng katawan yan para makahinga naman at saka para maging balance yung temperature ng body ninyo. So, the skin has the most number of receptors. Again, it does really respond to coldness, to warmness, no? Yung skin talaga yung may mas nakaka-sense ng maraming bagay or ng maraming stimuli. So, kindly please read this, the function of the structure of the skin in the PowerPoint presentation. For more information about how the skin works, please watch this YouTube or this video link. Okay, other sensations are the following. We have pain sensations, wherein the activation of the receptors in the primary afferent fibers when we feel kapag napalo tayo or kapag natusok tayo, di ba? The pain receptors are activated. Kinesthetic sensations are the position and movement of the body parts with respect to each other and of muscle force and effort. So, well, basically, if we are doing something like movements, no? Okay, our body parts are really respondent, no? Towards how the stimuli are sensed by our sensory organs, no? Basically, the skin. Vestibular sensations naman corresponds to the balance and equilibrium. Organic sensations corresponds to hunger, nausea, so yung mga basic basic functions like hunger and those events that can happen inside our body arising from the internal organs. Like, it detects that there is something wrong that is happening in your body. No? Kaya nagkakaroon tayo ng mga masakit yung ulo ko, like nagugutom ako, or you feel painful at some organs of your body because it detects that there is something wrong. ESP and its types. So ESP stands for extrasensory perception, or also called the sixth sense. So this includes the claimed reception of information not gained through the recognized physical senses. So medyo may pagka-weird, pero sige lang, it's also part of the psychology course, no? Yung sixth sense natin. So humans have extrasensory abilities as well as extrasensory abilities. No, so extrasensory abilities are forms of sensory detection in addition to the basic senses that have been discussed, no? Additional siya sa 5 senses of hearing, viewing, smelling, touching, and ano pa ba yung isa? Touching and tasting, okay? Extrasensory abilities, the second one, are abilities that involve the psi or mental faculties. Okay, so studies show that that sensation precedes or paves way for perception. However, there are instances where perception happens without previous sensation. Okay, thus extrasensory perception occurs. So let's learn more about this. Ano ba yung extrasensory abilities and perception? Different types of extrasensory perception abilities are telepathy, the ability to convey mental messages over a distance. It could also be the ability to read a person's mind. So for psychics, they have known to have this ability, telepathy, or they are known to be telepaths, to read what is in the other person's mind. Psychokinesis, the ability to affect physical processes that are outside the body through mental effort alone. For instance, being able to move objects without using the hands or feet, but by manipulating it through the mind alone. So, kapag kaya mong pagalawin yung mga bagay-bagay, no, kagaya ni ni yung X-Men, sino nga yun, si Jean Grey, no? Wherein she could use her mind alone to move objects without touching or moving it. Clairvoyance is the awareness of physical objects or events without using one's basic sensory cues. Medyo may pagka-deep itong type of this ESP, but it is claimed as the ability to gain information about an object, person, location, or physical event through extrasensory perception alone. Okay? So basically, it goes beyond the five senses. Precognition. Okay, it is the ability to see or experience the future. Well, I think this happens mainly through dreams, sometimes through fortune telling, no? People can claim that they can see the future or whatnot. Okay, may pagka-trivial itong ganitong klaseng extrasensory perception ability. But these are just different types of ESP. I hope you could have research in this one, no? And you could just research more if this is really happening, if there are people who could really do these types of ESP. Okay, that is the end of our lesson. I hope you've learned something. Medyo may pagkahaba yung ating discussion ngayon, pero sana may matutunan kayo, and please don't just base your learning in this lesson. You could actually go beyond, research more into the topics that are discussed in this lesson. Thank you so much for listening, and that's all. See you soon. Goodbye.